Hello and welcome to a podcast with Subhash Chowdary. I'm very fortunate to have a conversation with a mentor for IIT Startups. IITs, or Indian Institute of Technology, are the crown jewel of academic institutions and engineering and technology in India. And IITians are world leaders and are creating waves in Silicon Valley. This great opportunity to meet Subhash Chowdary, a mentor of IIT Startups cohort number 4, where I interacted with him, where 12 IIT founders were pitching their startups and multiple spaces, B2B, healthcare, HR tech, wellness, and more. So welcome, Subhash.
Thank you. Thanks for that great introduction and all the good things you said about IITs.
Tricky one, but I think I'll still ask it.
The way the structure is set up is, they're all different types of startups, right? They're just
awesome, great. So if we do you have like different tiers or and Subhash, what is your experience with IIT Startups? What are IIT Startups in Bay Area all about? Can you please give a brief introduction?
Sure. So the IITians and IIT Startups started with a very simple idea that there are a lot of these IITians who want to do startups, right? Like all Indians. So what happens is the IITians they're very academically strong. They're very technically competent. Worked so successfully in many companies, but I think they lack certain skills in building a big business, right? Wow. So we want more of them successful than the few that we all are proud of, but see that scale 100 times more. So that's the reason why we wanted to get the IIT startups more managed, more coached, and rather than just going to the hundreds of incubators, and then also want to increase the success rate of these startups. You know how startups fail and all that stuff.
Yes.
But we want to make sure that the success rate of IITians doing startups goes up by a factor of 10 or 20.
Okay, fantastic. First of all, congratulations on such a great initiative, and I'm sure it is a high impact initiative. Can you please tell me a little bit about the success rate, which you just mentioned? What is it like with IIT startup founders?
Okay, so this was the 4th cohort. So when we started with the first one, we were all kind of put a structure together. Okay, so when we do this, it's a very different approach to supporting startups. Well, unlike the incubators and all the things that you know in the Valley, this is uniquely different in the sense we got successful IIT entrepreneurs who have been successful, volunteering their time. So there's no monetary benefit. There is no egos. You could be a billionaire and still be a mentor. You're treated the same way as anybody else. So there's no special treatment because you're a star in the Valley or something. So what happens is it's really those people volunteering their time to help and coach somebody in a direct manner rather than, superlative, great presentation, that kind of superficial stuff. The good thing with IITians is you can get direct feedback.
Awesome.
Okay? Not taken in a negative way because there's a certain camaraderie behind that, right? So that is the unique difference that makes IIT startups and the volunteers, the coaches, the mentors, all different in getting that feedback and that support ecosystem going.
Awesome, great. So if we divide this IIT startup organization into different parts or different hierarchies, what is the structure like? Do you have like different tiers or different groups, like for strategy?
The way the structure is set up is, they're all different types of startups, right? They're just at the idea level.
Yes.
Somebody's just got an idea and they're trying to build a company. So from that idea, there are some that have already got a team going.
Mm-hmm.
Some that have already raised money, seed money. So they're all different stages. So we welcome any one of them, right? It's not we are
Okay.
restricting anything. The only condition that we've had was that you have to have an IITian as a founder or co-founder.
Okay. Okay.
And suppose there is a company that comes in and says, hey, look, I love to be part of this. I know a lot of IIT. And then we say, look, why don't you get one of the IITians as a founder, co-founder as part of your team, then you qualify. So that was the only base level qualification required.
Okay.
Then
And
they go through a screening process. Yes.
sorry.
They go through a screening process.
And can you describe a little bit about screening? It seems like it's very, very difficult to get through.
Yes. So, everybody who has an idea is not ready for, prime time, right? So
Yes.
just an idea doesn't mean you've got a solution going ready to be funded. So what happens is we take from a lot of applicants, we at the end of a cohort, we suggest that people apply and we do some readiness assessment, right? So like I said, first of all, do you have a viable idea, and since we can, there are people who are looking at this who are qualified, who have previous experience, we can make a good determination whether you even are ready for this, right?
Okay.
There's no point flogging something that you don't even have an idea and you're still thinking. That's like, hey, we're not here to come up with an idea for you. If you are, we'll help you go forward, but we're not going to give you the original idea.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
That you have to come to the table with. So that's the, so first IITian as a co-founder, founder, then a viable idea. And then from there, we will take it. We don't reject somebody just because, they don't have a team or anything yet. But if I get 20, 25, 30 people and you don't even have a team and you're just thinking at idea level, then we'll tell you why don't you come back in the next cohort and you work with us, but you're not ready for this one. So, so that's the base level.
Okay, that's great. So that means people have a chance to come back, and I really like that. They have a
Right.
chance to come back and see the screening, and the screening round actually acts like a guiding post for them. They know what
Yes.
they need to work on.
Right. And then we also, depending on, the right match, we can also provide, if there is a mentor, not coaches. Coaches are pretty much in demand and they're very qualified to do certain things. Mentors, at least we can say, why don't you work with this guy and come back in 3 months once you have, thought about it better and you've gone to a little further ahead.
Awesome.
So you get access to mentors who have expertise in that area, who previously have done stuff.
Awesome.
So there's some guidance there, and it's not rejecting anybody outright.
So I like this. This is like a ecosystem of partners. It's
Yes.
and it is not for profit. It's more like I think this is very much like Thai. Like a Thai ecosystem, the Indus entrepreneur, they have a mentor connect facility as well. But then you're totally focused on IITs, and I think this is very high quality talent you're dealing with, because IIT as a they have very high bar or standards. They're completely no nonsense.
Right. What I look at it is even if you look at Thai, when we started Thai originally, the majority of them were IITians.
Okay. You were part of Thai during the initial phase. Were you?
Right. So when Thai started, we've been in the valley for nearly 35 plus years, right?
Okay.
Thai started. If you look at the original founders, were all I wouldn't say all. Most of them were IITians.
I
right?
see. And go ahead.
Kanwal and all these guys, all the famous.
Yeah, Kamal Ricky, yeah.
All IITians, right?
Awesome.
So taking further one step forward, there's a subtle difference between this is we want IITians to give back, right? We got a free education at a rate in India, right? Hardly cost anything in those days, right? And so we are trying to promote the culture of giving back. So pay forward, that kind of a thing is do something versus, you got all this benefit, why don't you help other IITians and help India in a little way, in any way you can. So that's a subtle difference between TIE and IITian.
Okay. So great. So, I kind of got an understanding of your screening process, also a part of how you're organized. I want to now ask, what is it that you learned from the cohort 4? You had 4 cohorts. I'm guessing cohort 4 is like the most experienced in terms of mentorship. I saw there were 12 startups. What were some of the learnings you found from coaching and mentoring this cohort?
Well, so it's just not this cohort, right? So remember, we did 4 of them, right?
Sure.
And, I also need to distinguish between coaches and mentors, right?
Okay. Okay.
So
Uh,
mentors have some knowledge about the subject area and domain, right?
yes. Yes.
Not necessarily have all the coaching skills.
Right.
Some people are good mentors, but they're not good coaches.
Uh,
Okay. Some
uh,
people are good volunteers, and some people should not volunteer.
yes. Okay. Okay. Now, okay. I see. So IIT has very high bars of acceptance. I see that. I see that even here, which is great. So,
Right. I mean,
so how do you differentiate coaching? Coaching is more executional. It is more regular. Is that what it is, or is it more?
so what happens is mentors. Again, I'm just drawing some fine lines between these. So, for example, there were 3 of us who were coaches. Sudhir, Jnani, and myself were coaches, right? And then we have like 20, 30, 40 mentors who help
Okay.
with various expertise with working with a startup
Mm-hmm.
on one basis. Like somebody may have good marketing skills,
Right.
somebody may have good domain expertise in networks, somebody may have AI skills, right?
Right.
So you got that very little focused attention. So what happens is the entrepreneur gets access to that knowledge,
Right.
right? Now, as a coach, the goal is not only should you have had previous startup experience and exits and all of that stuff, which all of us had, we're able to look at an entrepreneur and see across the functionality, right?
Okay.
Your go-to-market, your product fit, all of that, your presentation skill, the wording, I mean, right down to how when you know so much and you bring it down to 1 sentence per slide, that's a very difficult job.
Very difficult.
Not be able to do it, right?
Yeah.
Mentor will give you a lot of technical, and you can get a lot of technical, kumbaya between the 2 guys.
Yeah.
Still don't know how to present, right?
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That's what coaches help with, right?
Okay.
So I've had the fortunate pleasure of getting all the hard ones. The other 2 guys don't want to take. So they're like, Subhash, that's yours because this guy needs a lot of work, right? So that's really where the coaches come in to catch all from presentation, idea, go-to-market, funding, how to talk, how to present, how to wordsmith their presentation content, all of that. That's a fundamental difference.
Wow. So since you're a serial entrepreneur and you have been in senior executive positions, what are some of the things you can tell future IITians who want to join IIT startups? What are the things they can work on, like top 3 things they can work on based on your experience? Like you keep seeing all the time and you're tired of teaching. Are there any top 3 things you want to tell them before they...
Yeah, I think the hardest thing for IITians, at least the previous batches, it's getting better now, is presentation and communication skills, right?
Yes.
Not good at that. Okay,
Yes.
it's a very. I mean, the more you question them, the more detailed they get, right?
Yes.
Makes it worse, right? So you basically, every question gets more and more into bits and bytes, not go higher and higher, right?
Yes.
Fundamental. It's not that's what I call the communication presentation skills. And while you're sitting in the audience, you wonder, hey man, that guy didn't say anything useful or anything valuable, but he's getting funded, right? So just tell them that with no idea what is the difference, he was able to communicate something so simple, right, that people understood, and they see it as value, whereas your stuff nobody understands, right? So I
Yes.
a lot of examples, all the way from biological, pathological, all kinds of solutions, AI, everything that we looked at. And, I don't want to single out anyone, but when they started, only somebody who did a PhD in that particular subject would know what he's talking about. No
Yeah.
one, and the least of all of you have no clue what this guy said. So that's the number one issue, is the communication skill,
Presentation skills.
is being able to say it succinctly in words that an investor can understand.
Oh.
Investors have, in my opinion, a little very short attention span.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Especially the communities you're dealing with.
Yes.
What happens is they see 100 pictures a day,
Yeah.
so things sounds the same to them.
Yeah.
So whatever you have to communicate has to be done effectively in a very short time with the right words.
Yeah.
That is the most probably the basic thing that the coaches deal with.
Wow.
Is, hey, you're not making any sense. Your thing doesn't even, what you said and what you're trying to convey are not same, right? So that's really the two things I would say every entrepreneur on the IITian side has to build up on, and that's really what we coach them.
So when, let's say for the cohort 5, there are some IIT founders. Now, if they come they take your advice from this podcast and they come prepared, they have better chances of getting screened, because I know many startups apply and only 12 got screened, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, so this is, since these guys are smart, it doesn't mean just because have good presentation communication skill, we don't say that you get a pass. No, you got to have substance after that. So you can pull a fast one.
Okay, all right. So I get that. So there's depth of knowledge and great tools for communication, great way of communication as well, and presentation, of course. Communication and presentation, there's two different. But you're saying first problem is presentation, second is communication. I totally get it. I spoke to many IIT startup owners, and they're very structured in their head, and they talk according to the structure in their head, and they totally forget where the audience is coming from. So I totally get it. My next question is, how do you advise them about this bootstrapping or approaching angel investors or venture capitalists? The different categories, or self-fund, or how do you tell them that? Because I know as part of coaching, you do talk to them about this. What are some of the things you can advise startup founders?
Yeah, this is actually the most probably the toughest thing
Toughest one.
That's again goes back to why we say the coaches have to deal with this, right?
Yeah.
So not everybody is fundable. Okay. So I mean, we just have, and that's you have to let somebody know that at this stage you're not fundable. So what are your options, right?
Yeah.
So each case, see, there are so many differences, right? One is the individual himself or herself, because it's both, right? So it's not, so we have to look at the individual. And this gets into the coach having to understand the individual better, okay? See what really will help that particular individual. Some people are not, so the worst is they're not coachable, okay?
They're not coachable.
Yes. Especially if you're very strong-headed, and there are a lot of them. Okay, so it's not just IITians. So you have to first see whether the person is coachable, right? So if they have so strong views and ideas, if they're not going to listen, it becomes a problem. So there's nothing. That's why I said the tough cases come to me. Right? The other two guys pass and say, "Hey, this guy's not coachable. Subhash, you look into him."
That's hard. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So at that point, then, so what comes down to as a coach, you have to look at and talk to the individual to tell them, here is his problems, right? Unless he addresses that, he's not going to be fundable. So first, he has to be coachable.
Yeah.
even listen to me, then what's the point? I mean, there's no point. There's no way he's going to get through because the other two have already rejected him. So it's like, so you have to talk to the individual. That's a very fundamental part of getting a person ready for the industry and investors, is
Right.
that you have to be open to taking inputs.
Right.
That's one. Then comes the next step. Okay. Where are you? What's your personal condition? What's your background? Can you afford it? What's your family situation? All of that stuff is factors into that discussion. Are you a fresh IIT graduate with a great idea just from IIT and you're here?
Yeah.
The approach to how to deal with that is very different than a guy who's coming out of Apple, Google, or Microsoft, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, or IBM. I mean, so each one, all four categories are different. The guy coming from IBM, for example, requires a different level of coaching.
Yeah.
He may have run $1 billion business in IBM, but he is not ready to be funded in the real world, right? Explain that to a guy who's done $1 billion business and thinks, he's ready. The answer is most probably no, right? So the whole spectrum goes across the industry and where you are, your personal, frame, family, situation, experience, knowledge, all that is what goes into how to prepare the candidate.
I kind of like that opinion, and you have proof. You actually.
Well, I come from an Apple type mindset, right? So, which is very different. I don't know if I want to get into it, but it is very when people say what's the difference, in innovation and all that. The Apple mindset is very different than any other industry or any other success in the world, right?
And so, why do you say that?
So this goes back to these words we use, right? So there are innovators, there are imitators, there are opportunists, right? And like this, there are then there are technologists, right? And then there are visionaries. So each one is very different. Visionaries usually don't deliver anything. They give you visions, right? So at one time, if somebody called a visionary, I would consider that an insult. So you have to understand the meaning behind it. So innovators are the ones who don't go and work in frameworks, right? Ask for input on, nobody went and asked the industry, should we build an iPhone?
Yeah.
Whereas there are big companies that will take exactly what you built and keep copying it, and in the next 30 years they kind of get somewhere close to it. Those are the imitators, and there are a lot of big successful companies. That business model works very successfully for a lot of companies, right? There are technologists who build technology and then they can never take it to market. It's absolutely wonderful, good technology, but never gets to the real world, right? Then there are opportunists, right, who know a shortfall in a particular product line, right? They go build that and sell it back to that company. There's one company in the valley that has, acquired 30 different companies like that and succeeded till today, till the innovation ran out, and now they're in trouble, right? So they are no longer a factor.
Okay, good. This is nice. I like this framework. Innovators, visionaries, technologists, imitators, opportunists. Isn't that the really good framework? I like that.
This goes back to the individuals, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you have to understand the context, right? Is this guy visionary? That means he needs a team that will execute on delivery.
Right? I like that. Yeah.
If he's an innovator, then the same thing, what will it take, that innovation? Is it relevant? When will it happen? Is it 10 years out, 15 years out, right? So each individual, this is a level, this is what I'm saying. It's not, when you asked a question, what advice you give, it depends on the individual, their background. You have to understand all of that. That's what a coach is, right? Whereas will tell me, hey, I'm in AI, I know how to do, cloud services, and if you're in that space, I'll help you. Then we pair up those individuals for that entrepreneur. But a coach has to go through all of this, right?
And I like that you have multiple coaches available at IIT Startups who understand the IIT ecosystem very well. So you are very close to the heart of the person who is coming to the IIT Startup group, because you know the way they're educated, their family, and their personality, and also their prospects in the valley. So this is
Yeah,
great.
that helps, and we can be direct without, if somebody else said the same thing to that individual, they most probably have a breakdown, right? It's like, oh my God, he told me this is useless, all that, right? So whereas if we said, they understand that, hey, this is not somebody saying it to be mean, but
Yeah.
me a reality check.
Awesome, awesome. So great. Now, I have one follow-up question on the funding part. So do you accept people who have already got funded and they're struggling through the phase of meeting the VCs or investors' expectations? Do you work with them?
Yeah, all of them. That's why I said there are people who already got funded. Like you saw in cohort 4, the guys already got funded, but so we were prepping them for the next round, right? We're
Oh,
not, they didn't
yeah,
ask for money. In cohort 4, if you notice, there were like 2 companies that did not ask for any money.
right,
That was one of the things that we helped them. It's like, hey, you always need money. If once you take money, you will need money. Okay, that's
right,
how it.
right, right,
So what we were doing was prepping them for the next stage, so that they can continuously learn how to communicate. And for that particular CEO, once he's got funded, his life changes.
right. So,
You
so
manage a funded company is very different than somebody who's not funded, because
yes,
you have other people looking at you with a different perspective.
right. So you are as like a CEO coach here. From a founder coach, you became a CEO coach here. This is your transition.
Well, I mean, like I said, in the cohort, there are guys who are different levels, right? Now, for those people, um, guys get funded, we we kind of try to help the CEO to figure out what's expected of him going forward, right? There's a completely different expectation after you're funded.
That is hard.
It's very hard, right? So for a person to step into that role, now, to be blunt, what do you think happens in the investor's head moment he starts funding?
He wants scale. He wants profit. He wants to
No,
see.
they even go to more. The first question they think about is, should I get a CEO to replace this guy? Let's
Right.
be honest, right?
Yeah,
It's,
okay.
it's very fun. The things are not said. This is a good thing about the IIT stuff. We can tell this to the guy directly. Hey, look, if you don't step up, you're going to be replaced.
Right, right, right.
When a guy invests in you, he wants you to deliver. That's obvious. This is a obvious statement, right?
Yeah,
But go beyond that. So you have to step up to delivering and communicating that.
right.
There are people who don't deliver anything and still look great.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. And
Lots
why?
of lots of examples in this valley, right? Who delivered nothing, spent billions of dollars, and still everybody loves that guy, right? So
Because they have great people skills and they're very charismatic and they have great connections, I guess. So,
exactly. So what happens is, so this is the real world, right? So once you take funding, then the guy has to think about different sets of problems,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
They're pre-funding, post-funding. So personalities have to change. You have to step up, and you have to start. Some of them, you have to tell them that you're not no longer the coder. You now are heading the company up, or do you want to continue coding, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You. So then, in that case, you have to be prepared to have somebody else step into it, because it's very important that you deal with the other aspect to get the next round of funding.
Right. So now you're dealing with team issues. Somebody who is strong on technology, you're making
Right.
them work with people and organization-centered people who will,
Yes.
So that's very
Yeah.
hard. First of all, you give away your startup to somebody
Right.
to,
Yes.
yeah. So how does
You have
that?
to be you have to be mentally prepared for all that, right? And
Hmm.
most of these guys, that's when, we've gone through situations where the guy feels very, things like, I built this baby, I built all of those things, and it's very hard for them to let go. And then we're trying to tell him, hey, look, either you decide you're a technology guy or you're a business guy. If you're going to be a business guy, you're not even, and then are you a business guy, yes or no? That also we can tell him, right? You're not. right? And it's not a one person's opinion. This is what I'm saying is you have to have some skills to assess these, and it's just not my bias towards one or the other, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of empathy, knowledge, all that you have to deal with when you're dealing with individuals and helping them grow, right?
Yeah. So the way I see it is, you as a coach, you are a big picture person. You know the entire innovation landscape of a founder straight out of IIT, and all the way until they pass their first round of funding and they're getting on to become a CEO from being a founder. So this is a
Right.
very big landscape, but you're also able to get into granularity of people issues, of technology issues, pitching a slide, communicating with the right words. Oh my
Right.
God. So this is like a big role. I don't know what kind of role this is. It's a it's a
Yeah,
coach, innovation coach, I think. That's what you are.
yeah, it's that's why I say the coach is a catch-all, right?
Yeah, it's a catch-all. That's the word. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's a catch-all for all of these things, emotional stuff,
Yeah.
including and if the coach should be good enough to know if he doesn't have certain skills, then to bring people in who know that,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it should be like, I'm going to tell you how to do marketing when I don't know what it is, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Uh, so that's the value of this IIT ecosystem is, if I feel that this guy really needs marketing help or something, then we can find the right person who has that marketing help and say, talk to this guy,
Yeah,
right?
and from what I know is IIT is such a big and powerful brand. Other nationalities have a lot of respect for that, and it attracts a lot of high quality meritocratic talent. That's what I've seen from my personal experience. That's what I
Right.
feel. Yeah. So
You use a very critical word, I think, is merit based,
yeah,
right?
merit based. Yeah, merit based.
So it's whether the guy individually is smart or not. What has done is the system has filtered people who, I mean, just basically that's the system that's how has worked, right? It's a
Yeah.
filter, and so people got through that system, and so obviously when you're filtering such millions of people, you end up with a high quality brain power, right? So it's not that the other people were not brainy, but the filtration filtered these guys out. So they purely came up on merit. And the problem with that is they don't have these other skills. They're
Right.
not able to game the system. They're not street smart. They're not crooked in their thinking. It's very be crooked. I mean,
Yeah.
I sometimes wish I want to be a crook, but it's very difficult because it requires a different skill, I think.
Yeah. 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 No, but in India, this the population is very high. It's always a game of survival, and IITians are in this pristine environment where knowledge is worshipped. And when they come out, I guess the struggles are the same, whether they float a startup there or here. So but they're very lucky here, that they come to Silicon Valley because they're so close to investor community, and this is like a global launch pad. After coming to Silicon Valley, they can literally disperse any part of the world.
True. So I mean, this is true anywhere in the world. Is if you have money, you want somebody else to do the work for you. This is a very fundamental business thing. Is the guy who has the money doesn't do the work, right?
Yeah.
So love to use that money to get things done and make more money, right? It's a fundamental law in my opinion, right? So that's what happens. So there is capital here, and they see the value of investing that capital to grow it 10, 100,000 times. So therefore, it is to their advantage because they themselves will not do the hard work or sweat it out, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
put the money in to make it work using smart guys. And if this talent pool comes from IITs and that got exposed, so that is a good thing that TIE did, was it exposed the Indian entrepreneur,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily IITian, and then we took it next step to say IITians because that's what we were competing with.
Okay, great. Tricky one, but I think I'll still ask it. Where do you think the next billion-dollar startup will come? Will it come from Silicon Valley or from outside?
Well, there will be billion-dollar companies all over the world. I think some of the policies that are being implemented will most probably force some of these entrepreneurs to stay away from here. So the thing is, it can happen anywhere in the world. You will be seeing it. There's geography is not a constraint anymore.
Right, right,
And money will find its way if the idea is good, right?
right.
So like I said, people who have the money always want to see it grow X number of times.
Right.
So find their way to where that opportunity exists. So that is one. And I think the other question you asked was, where is that next
$1 billion? Yeah.
Yeah. So now this is again, I see the next big industry that's going to go through rapid change is the agriculture food industry.
Oh my gosh. You say agriculture. Oh, okay.
Agriculture, meaning that in the world, right, we can't, the one industry that has the most or the largest implementation of technology right now is agriculture, which means food, food that is going from processed to fresh and organic.
I see.
You name a technology, that technology is being applied to that particular industry. This is of drones, images, artificial intelligence, you name it, IoT. IoT sensors go in the ground at the ground level, right?
Wow, wow.
They don't work at management level, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, yeah.
so when you're talking about, billions or trillions of devices, they're going into closer to the ground, right? The digitization and all that stuff, when you think about it, is happening in that particular industry. And so that's my take, is there's going to be major disruptions of companies that exist today as number one will no longer exist as number one.
Yeah,
and they're not able to deal with what we're talking about. Culturally, physically, professionally, all that.
And does it is this going to be like local, or is it like a global phenomenon? You think this is going to be global?
I mean, whether you go to India, China, Malaysia, wherever, organic and fresh is like on the top of everyone's mind, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. You go to Singapore, you know all about that hydroponics, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So organic and fresh is the thing. That changes, and with some of the technologies that went into e-commerce, right? All headed towards that.
I see. So this is a great insight, a counterintuitive insight, actually. I was thinking more you'll say healthcare, or you're going to say driverless cars or something like that. But this is, all said and done, we can't survive without healthy food. That's very good for survival. So I see where you're coming from. And
driverless cars and all are great for certain localities and certain things. They sound great, and you can market hype it. But making a driverless car work in Delhi, Hyderabad, or Chennai, or Bangalore, that's not going to happen anytime in your future or my future soon.
Okay. Great. So I'm totally thrilled with today's interview. I never expected a lot of enlightening ideas came today. I'm tremendously thankful, for you sharing such good advice to founders. I'm sure they will do a really good due diligence before approaching IT startups, and the IT startups will be a beacon of light for many generations of entrepreneurs to come. With that, any closing thoughts to founders and CEOs and startup owners? Any closing thought for you want to share with them?
Well, I mean, my 2 cents is that don't just listen to what somebody else says. That usually leads into a very limited point of view. The second thing would be, you're limited by what you know. So the biggest hurdle any person has is they're limited by what they know. If you work for 30 years, then you're limited by that 30 years knowledge. So you have to be able to overcome that, right?
And how does one overcome that?
So I'll give you an example, right?
Yeah.
The very top respected industrialists or successful heads of companies in the US at one time said internet will not happen.
Hmm. Hmm.
including the companies that promote it. I mean, now are reaping the benefits. They use pretty strong language to say, no way that's going to happen, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
What was the reason? I mean, I can give you a lot of quotes, right? Some of those companies don't even exist now because of that kind of mindset. Like somebody
Right.
said, we have a VT100. Why do you need a computer when you got a terminal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't even exist. The another company that basically did not want to acknowledge that anybody will have anything other than a desktop now
Yeah.
is all 100% cloud, right?
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Including Apple, which said initially did not support the internet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
support a browser, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it had to go over that hurdle. So it is very difficult sometimes to think beyond what you control and say that is what is going to hinder us, and we can't see beyond it, right?
Yeah.
So I can give very specific examples of these companies that said no, and if they had not changed their mind, they wouldn't have existed today.
Awesome.
Right?
Awesome.
You
Yeah.
think you expect them, these are the visionaries, leaders, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So they said no, they're not going to do it, and you had to literally shout, scream, fight to say that's the dumbest thing you can do, and
Wow.
then reluctantly they agreed, right? So
So,
that's the kind of thing, you're limited by what you know, right?
mm, and the my read to this for founders is, if some very big person you adore, you consider as visionary, says no to your idea, maybe you don't get disheartened. Maybe you do think in different ways to make your idea work.
No, you want to find out what is it that won't work.
What is it that won't work?
See, I have a very simple rule. You can criticize anything you want,
Yeah.
right? Everybody's free to do that.
Yeah.
But the suggestion is, can you suggest something that is better?
Okay.
There's no
Okay.
point complaining about everything when
Yeah.
you not give. Let's say if you had the choice, right?
Yeah.
Maybe something you don't, not in your power, right?
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you have the choice, do you have a better suggestion?
Right. Right.
So
So,
that's really the question, is that you can complain, but so if some other visionary
yeah.
said
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to work, find out uh, why he thinks it won't work.
Mm-hmm.
Don't argue with him. See,
Mm.
this is where I try to tell the founder, don't argue with somebody who's giving you input. It's up to you to take the input or not take it, but don't argue with the guy,
I
right?
like this. It's very good advice.
Yeah, because if you listen to him, you may miss out why it's not going to work.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So just listen to the guy, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm telling you that, hey, your sentence is not making sense, don't explain it to me, right?
Oh,
Input, and then go back and see how you can make it better, right? Or ask me how I can make it better, right? But don't argue that I'm not understanding and therefore you have to convince me how it is better, right?
I think this is like a really, really good advice, not only for startup founders, but for anybody in managing any relationship,
Right,
professional or off profession. I
right,
think this is a very empowering concept. You're not only humble, but you're also able to connect with people and get the best out of them.
right. Because
Yeah.
see, I mean, just like, so the founders that we are coaching, right? So the typical reaction to a criticism is, hey, it's not making sense. Then the guy starts explaining more details, right? And so when we tell him, no, that's not what I meant, don't try to make explanations for it. Go back and see how you can say that better, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But don't feel like I'm not understanding, that's why I'm saying this. No, I didn't understand, and that's what I'm telling you. So you have to go back and figure out how to explain it at a higher level in a more simpler terms that I will understand, even though I'm not an expert in that, right?
Yeah.
So that's, that again goes back to that communication presentation skills, is that listen, take the input. If it makes sense, use it. If it doesn't make sense, then figure out what's the alternative, or you can reject it. I mean, you might be right. You might know something that who was telling you may not know. It doesn't mean knowledge is not a monopoly, right?
Yeah. 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 No.
Stupidity can be.
Yeah, yeah. So no, this is good advice. This should be taught at the undergraduate level, because undergraduate level they have so much energy, and the only thing they is they are young and they're hot-headed. They're not able to listen to advice, good, really, really life-changing advice. If they can learn this, then they will go really, really far.
Yeah, it's and not all advice is good. So I mean, that's what I'm saying is take the input, right?
Yeah. Mm.
And then try it on somebody else and say, if I did this, what do you think? And somebody else might say, that's really dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you
Yeah.
have Vishnu saying something and somebody else says, no, that's dumb. It's still input, right?
Yeah.
And you have to make the call.
Yeah. So this is like a very good window into an IIT graduate's thinking. That's what you have essentially summarized with that on such an amazing, powerful, and impactful closing note. I'd like to thank you for your time and for your insights. It will go a long way. Thank you, Subhash, and wonderful talking to you.
Sure, my pleasure. My pleasure. Great questions. I appreciate your questions and your inputs. Thank you.
Thank you.